Hello and welcome. My name is Cliona Foley and this is Off the Bench, a podcast about women's sport which we hope will educate and entertain sports fans of all genders. You can find us on iTunes or on the podcast section of offtheball.com. Just go into the podcast section and find Off the Bench. You'll find all our previous episodes there. And we also have a Twitter account. It's at Off the Bench OTB, capital OTB, for your thoughts and suggestions and maybe anything you want to give us feedback on. Our guest today is somebody who did something major really in terms of sport. She left school early, went across the world to train because basically there was nobody in Ireland good enough to beat her or to give her the kind of practice she needed. So tennis player Georgia Drummy, welcome to Off the Bench.
Thank you for having me, Cliona.
You're very welcome. Great to have you here because you're home but you're racing back, I think, fairly quickly to America where you're now studying. When are you going?
Yeah, I leave this Sunday to continue my studies in Vanderbilt University.
And we'll talk about that later on because you're down in Nashville, which must be pretty different for a South Dublin girl.
Yeah, it's a lot different with all the country music and everything, but it's a lot of fun.
I bet it's different, all right. Big thing for you, obviously, and we'll talk about your career and where it's come to, but recently you won the Irish Open. Were you the first Irish woman? We think you might have been to win the Irish Open.
Yes, I think I was the first Irish woman, so it was a great achievement and it was definitely nice having the home crowd and everyone there to support me, family and friends. It was a great feeling to be
And
there.
in the final, you beat a French woman who was, what were you seated fifth?
I was seated fifth, yes.
And you had a tough first game.
Yeah, it was a long game, had some break points, so
you saved a few break points.
So it was good just trying to get my nerves out of the first game and get through that game because it's always the most important one.
It must be the hardest one. Tennis, psychologically, I'm thinking it must be the hardest, the first two games. Are they? Yeah,
you're just trying to calm your nerves because you don't want to go out being all nervous and start making loads of errors and then be 2-0 down, which is quite hard, especially being broken.
Yeah.
It's quite hard to break back. You have to do it twice if you want to then win the set.
Yeah.
So it's definitely the hardest for you.
So start is a hugely important thing. I was curious, do you win money for that?
Yes, I did.
Did you?
Yeah.
And do all your friends think you're going to get really rich playing tennis?
Well, so I can only take, because I'm in college, I can only take up to expenses. So I was able to take it because of my flights from the US. And
brilliant.
It then covered also like some of the coaching that I had during that week, which was
excellent.
And like food.
All right,
but then it can be quite annoying if I play like higher money tournaments. I won't be able to take it.
You can't take the money?
Only because I'm in college, because if I take more than what I have the expenses and I'm counted as a professional athlete.
And they're really strict in America about your professional and amateur status. You have to maintain it. It's really important. We'll talk about that. You're from Blackrock. You went to school in Mount Anville and you did your junior cert. But tell us about this decision to go away to train, and where did you go to?
Yeah, so I felt like the best thing for my tennis to improve was to go away to the States, where I went to Florida to Everett Tennis Academy, and I just felt I needed to train on the clay a lot because there was no real clay courts here, and they've gotten a few now, but it's still not quite the same as real clay. Also, the training conditions out in Florida, you train in really hot, humid weather, which I felt I really needed to work on because a lot of the tournaments, like I was in Spain last month and it was over 38 degrees.
Wow.
So I definitely, if I hadn't have been in Florida and trained in that weather, I wouldn't have been able to get through all my matches as I
had to deal with that. Yeah, because you're a bit like me, you're a pale Irish girl, exactly. So you're not a natural in heat, and and the time you're on court, of course, it's a huge thing. Did you must have been in the Irish tennis system before that, so were you one of these, really talented youngsters who was going over to DCU to train and trying to combine that with school as well?
Yes, I did go to DCU from a young age, around 10, and luckily Mount Anville helped me a lot because I was able to leave school a bit earlier sometimes and travel to DCU because it's still quite like 45 minutes to an hour.
Town. Yeah,
so it was a bit of a drive. But they always helped me with whenever I missed classes they would catch me up. I'd have a lot of friends who would text me the homework if I didn't have it.
Brilliant. So they were very supportive.
Yes.
And did you do your Leaving Cert then? If you went off, so you went, when did you go to, and it's the Everett Tennis Academy, obviously Chris Everett, I think her brother runs it as well.
Yeah.
When did you go there? What age were you?
After I was 16, I'd finished my junior cert, so I went in the August, so the start of 4th year. And
I mean, that's a huge decision for you to make and also for mum and dad to make.
Yeah.
You're the youngest of three all girls.
Yes.
I mean, how did you come to that decision and were you worried about it?
I was worried at the start because I was thinking, I'm not going to see my family as much because it's kind of like the college where I would only go home kind of Christmas and summer, so just twice a year. But I knew that if I wanted to pursue it like tennis as a professional career in the later run or just like improve my game, that I would need to move abroad, just because it was great having like a lot of girls or guys around my age who are also looking to pursue it as a career.
So tell us what it's, because like you were in Boca Raton, but there's tons of, I mean, it is the world centre for tennis academies, if you like.
Yeah.
And Bollettieri, all of those were down there. Serena Williams' coach has one, hasn't he, down there as well? Yeah. There's tons of them. So what's the daily routine in these places?
So for me, we would wake up around 6:15 and started our warm-up at 7 a.m. and you play for 2 hours and then do 1 hour of fitness. So you finished at 10 o'clock, 10:15, and I went to school across the street. So I had like 15 to 20 minutes to get ready for school. Yeah, it would always be rushing. You'd just come out of your shower, be as fast as possible, and I'd have class from 10:30 to 2:30. And then I would be back on the tennis court at 2:45, so you'd be rushing again, and you'd play from 3 till 5.
And obviously then you're down there, though there's lots of tournaments down there, and I noticed you played a lot of tournaments even in South America and that whole junior circuit when you're there. Did you do that? You didn't do a Leaving Cert then? What did you do?
No, I took the SATs,
which is the American, the college exams basically to get into American colleges. So I was wondering, how did you complete your secondary education? So basically you did it out there. And were you the only Irish girl there?
Yeah, I was.
And what was that like?
To be honest, I was kind of used to it because whenever I was travelling from a young age, I was either, a lot of the time I was by myself or with a family member, so I was kind of always used to being the only Irish person, and I knew it when I was going out there that I was going to be, but I've kind of just been used to it, and it was different because everyone then was like, "Oh, you're Irish," so it was nice.
Great thing. You're like, you're having the new Irish girl. And I know from talking, we've interviewed quite a lot of young Irish athletes who are athletes in America. Same thing. Like sometimes it's a great bonus to be the only Irish person there.
No, Americans love Irish people, so it was perfect. I was like, thank you.
And did you? What about the accommodation? Like, is it basically like a tennis boarding school? Where do you live? Who do you share with?
Yeah, so I boarded on the tennis facilities. They have I had a roommate. It differed from the 2.5 years I was there. So my first one, I had a girl actually from Miami, and then the second year I had a girl from Canada.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm presuming they're all different nationalities there.
Yeah, there were.
So who did you end up being really friendly with that you beat all the time still, I presume?
Yeah, I ended up being really friendly with a girl from Curacao. It's in the Caribbean islands.
It's a tiny little place, tiny island. Go away.
And then a few Americans, like one's from Texas, another one from New York. So it's always nice. There weren't too many Europeans to say, but no, it was still like.
And would you ever actually get to see Chris Everett?
Yes, I actually worked. She worked with me a few times.
Did she?
Yeah, so it was really cool. She's a very nice woman. Yeah, I was a bit nervous at the start because I was like, "Oh my God, she's won so many Grand Slams," and she's like teaching me. But no, she helped me through, and she actually, whenever at the Grand Slams when I was playing, a lot of the times she was commentating.
She'd be there working commentary.
Yeah, so then she would come down and watch some of my matches, which was really nice.
Oh, how lovely!
Yeah.
So. See, again, it's lucky to be Irish. She probably remembers you because you're the Irish girl, apart from your talent as well.
Yeah.
Really interesting. And in fact, I noticed Naomi Osaka and the crazy Nick Kyrgios, as I call him, they actually, do they train there occasionally or train there all the time?
Yeah, so when I was there, Naomi Osaka trained there like the whole time with her coach, which was great. So I could always watch their training sessions. I was really annoyed because I actually found out, my coach texted me saying, would you want to hit with Naomi Osaka?
No.
And I wanted to, but I was like, I actually had a French exam that day, and I was like, it was just before, I was like, but
my goodness.
I was really annoyed, but it was fine because I also got to hit with other pros like Monica Puig, who won the gold medal in the Olympics, and then also Ayla Tomljanovic, she's like top 50 as well.
Right.
So there were lots of pros I could then play with,
that hitting practice, of course, is a quality of hitting practice you're just not going to get here as the Irish number one, and as I say, and Clay as well.
Yeah.
I have to ask you about Coco Gauff for loads of reasons. First of all, listeners, and I feel very old today, Georgia was born in the year 2000, so she is, a baby compared to the rest of us. But, you're the same, roughly, you're about 4 years older than Coco Gauff, so I was thinking, okay, Florida, you're both in colleges down in Florida, you might have seen her, you may have played against her, and then I looked up your record and discovered you've actually played against Coco Gauff. Tell us. Yeah,
I played against her in doubles last year at the Junior French Open.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool, and she's doing amazing at the moment.
Would you have been conscious of her in the tennis scene and know how good she was?
Yeah, I'd heard about her a good few, and she had the previous year gotten to the final of the US Open Juniors. So I definitely knew she was going to be a great player.
And had you ever met her on the circuit before that?
No, I hadn't. We didn't quite play the same tournaments.
Right, yeah. And as I said, it's a huge circuit down there.
Yeah.
And you took them to, it was a doubles game, wasn't it? What was it? Was it in French Open?
Yes, French Open.
And you got to the second round, and you and who else played?
It was my partner, Simona Waltert. She was from Switzerland.
Right, and you were playing Coco Gauff.
And I don't even remember.
We don't even remember who the other one was. You were just watching Coco all the time. So you're the one who will know more than anybody else in this country why Coco Gauff is so good. Why is she so good?
Well, I mean, first I couldn't believe she was 4 years younger than me because her physique, her build, she's very athletic, strong built. Definitely has a big serve for her age. I was really impressed with how she was playing. But yeah, no, I've seen her. She's mentally quite strong, which helps.
She seems to be really strong.
Just calm, and she doesn't get too nervous when she's playing the top people. She's kind of just is going to go out there and play her game.
Yeah, sometimes the youth helps that way. You're not even worried about who you're playing.
Yeah.
What height are you?
I'm nearly 5'11",
which is fantastic. Yeah. And is she taller than you? Can you remember? Did you think they're about the same height?
Around the same height, I think she might be. Yeah.
But she is incredibly fit and strong for her age, isn't she? At 15, it seems incredible. And she's just about to go and play in the US Open now. She's after getting a pass for that. That's incredible. So you're mixing in these kind of circles, you're playing in these kind of circles, and we should tell the listeners, your World Junior rankings last year was 35, am I right?
Yeah.
That is incredible for an Irish tennis player. And is that because, well, clearly you're talented, but is that because you spent those, 2 seasons down in Florida?
Yeah, I think before I went to Florida, I was around 170 or around there. And then it just helped, obviously, training with a lot of girls my age with really good competition.
Yeah.
One of the people I used to train with got to the final of Junior Wimbledon a year ago.
Really?
Yeah, or 2 years ago. So it was always great hitting with her, and then you have the pros coming in. So it helped a lot to even just watch them train and see the intensity and focus that you need to become if you want to.
I imagine you learn a lot watching other people, particularly in a game like tennis, where you can see so much, and the stops and the starts, and you can just see exactly what's going on technique-wise even.
Yeah.
But number 35 in the World Juniors, that is an amazing statistic. That's incredible. Yeah. Do you really feel, you must feel you can compete with them at that level, anybody at that level?
Yeah, no, I did. It was definitely a great achievement. Because I'd beaten people who were top 10, but it was sometimes I thought I could have pushed maybe to try and get in that higher. But then in my last tournament, of my junior career, I actually got injured in the semis.
Oh no!
Which was frustrating, but because it was quite a big tournament.
Where was it?
It was in Eddie-Her.
Right.
It was actually in IMG Academy.
Oh right, okay,
yeah,
the big international.
Yeah, it was a grade 1 So it was a bit annoying that I couldn't go through with that, but
finish it out and get more points and maybe even push it up. But that is still an incredible ranking. And so people should know this about you. You have played in all 4 junior Grand Slams. Yeah. That's incredible. And you did, were 3 of them in 2008? 3 of them last year, am I right in thinking that?
2018, yeah.
Yeah, 2018 rather. And then the Australian?
Was 2016.
Okay.
Yeah.
So last year, US Open, second round, Junior Wimbledon, first round, and a quarter-finalist in the doubles. Yeah. That's amazing. Who are you playing doubles with?
I was playing with an American girl called Alexa Noel.
Who you seem to play with a fair bit.
Yeah, I played with her a few times. Our games worked well together because she was good at net and I was quite a hard hitter, so I'd try and help set her up for the net game.
Right, so you're a good combination. Yeah. That's incredible. Who beat you?
We lost to Whitney Osuigwe and Katie McNally.
By much?
It was, I can't fully remember the score, but it was quite close because we actually lost them the previous week in a close one again. Really? But the problem was that in doubles it's first point after deuce and we lost all of them, so it didn't help.
Are you serious? You didn't have the advantage?
No,
that is tough, isn't it?
It was definitely tough because if we even won a few of them it would have turned the match around, but it was just frustrating.
And what court was that played on in Wimbledon? Where are you playing?
It was actually the court where the longest match was. I think that's 18.
Right, because I've never been to Wimbledon, so I have no idea where the juniors are playing. But you're playing on the outside courts?
Yeah, you're playing on
obviously.
Yeah.
And then French Open, second round, I think first round in singles and second round in the doubles again.
Yeah.
Right.
I got a bit unlucky with singles draws because I got in French Open the number 3 seed and then in Wimbledon the number 6 seed who then won US Open.
Wow.
So it was kind of tough playing the first round because I was also quite nervous, and then a lot of family and Irish people came over to watch because it's quite close. So it kind of put a bit too much pressure on me, which is annoying. But then in US Open, I had a really close second round match against I think one of the top 8 seeds. It was a really close one.
So incredible! That was an incredible year. But the first junior Grand Slam was Australia.
Yes, yeah.
What was that like?
That was amazing. Definitely, I think that Wimbledon was my favourite Grand Slam, but Australia was actually my second favourite Grand Slam because it was pretty cool. You got to. I was 16 or 15 at the time, and I was really nervous, and I could see all the pros. And actually, Nishikori, I met Nishikori, and he held the door open for me, and I was like, "Thank you." I was like, "You don't have to," but I was like, "Okay." He seemed really sweet. Yeah. So it was definitely an amazing experience.
That must have been an out of body experience to even play there, to go to and go to these places. And do you share the same dressing rooms, or are you miles away from the seniors, or what happens at these big Grand Slams?
Yeah, so in Australia, French Open and Wimbledon, you share with the pros, so it's amazing. Except for Wimbledon, it's the top 16 seeds, they're in a different one, but you have the rest. Okay. But in Australia, and French Open, I was beside Simona Halep and everyone, Wozniacki, and I was
are you serious?
Yeah, no, it was.
So you're really going in, changing, getting your gear, and they're over there getting their gear.
Yeah.
So, my goodness. And have you ever met anybody or stopped like that? You had the door opened, obviously. Have you met anybody?
So my favourite tennis player is Rafa Nadal, and I have a huge crush on him. And so at the French Open, I unfortunately didn't get to meet him or get a photograph. So I told my friends at Wimbledon, you have to text me the minute you see him, because I need to get a photo with him. So I had just finished practicing and I was in the gym just stretching, and my friend runs in. She's like, "He's right outside. He's about to go on court. You should run." And then my coach said, "Okay, you can."
Oh, nice coach. Thank you.
And then I go up and my voice started breaking and I was shaking. I was like, he couldn't even hear me say, "Can I have a photo?" I was just trying so hard, and then I got out of it, and then I got the photo, and I run away, and I started crying for 5 minutes because I was so happy. He's definitely one of my favorite tennis players of all time.
And because of the way he plays,
just how he fights so hard, he never gives up. You'll never even notice, even if he's in pain on court. he just plays through anything, and I think he's just an amazing role model.
So he's always been the hero then.
Yeah.
And we talk about it here, and there's a big 20 by 20 campaign about, who are the role models for our young girls, because we don't see enough women in sport, or we don't see women's sport as regularly as we see men's. So were there female tennis players that were role models for you as well? Yeah,
like I looked up to Serena Williams because obviously she has 23 Grand Slams, so like she's an amazing athlete. Also her sister, like Venus, the two of them.
I'm a Venus fan, I have to say. I was always a Venus fan. Yeah, I'm Venus, not Serena. It's funny, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is. But like the amount of wins she has, it's just amazing. Like to be around for so long and still be at the top. Like even people say like, and although she hasn't won a Grand Slam since she's had a baby, but she's been in the final of, I think, 3 since. So it's so amazing to be able to have such a high level. Yeah, no, it is incredible, and no sign of stopping either, which is amazing. So tell us now, you did 2 years in the Everett Academy. You qualify, you finish your SATs, you apply to American colleges. Yeah. You're now where? I'm now in Vanderbilt University in Nashville,
Nashville, Tennessee. Yeah. I mean, could there be more difference from Florida to Nashville, from Black Rock to Florida to Nashville, Tennessee? Yeah. And why did you choose that college?
So I was looking at a few colleges. I wanted one that was academically known, especially in Ireland. So if anything were to happen to me where I wasn't able to continue tennis, like an injury, or then even once I finished my tennis career, I would definitely want something. Yeah. So I looked around and I narrowed my choices down to UCLA, Duke and Vanderbilt. And
Duke is where Leona Maguire, of course, our great golfers have been, And are they tennis colleges as well? They are.
Yeah. So all 3 of them were top 10. So I was looking at them all, and they all had obviously great academics. But when I went on my visits, I really clicked with the coaches in Vanderbilt.
Right.
And they just had a player graduate the year before I came, and she's now playing in all the Grand Slams.
She's just gone into the World Top 100, isn't she? What's her name?
Astra Sharma.
That's her, Astra Sharma. Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah, she's just come inside the World Top 100. Yeah. So you could see there that they're good at their stuff.
Yeah, they definitely improved the players, which I was definitely looking for, because I just wanted to work on my tennis also and get great education.
And you kind of started mid-season, you kind of joined them in January. And I noticed, we should tell listeners as well, Rookie of the Year in her area, already ranked in the top 60 college players in America. And when were you turn 19?
April.
My goodness. So it's been a really good start to your college career.
Yeah, no, it's definitely been amazing. My teammates, love them all, and the coaches, everyone's been helping me.
And are you the only Irish girl on campus again?
Yeah.
That's always going to be, they'll always remember you because you're the only Irish girl on campus. And again, are you in a dorm situation, or where do you live? Yeah.
So I live on campus. My roommate is a soccer player.
Oh, lovely. Yeah,
she also joined in January, so we're 2 new people.
You're the 2 newbies.
Yeah, but it was good, because now I also am friendly with a few of the soccer girls as well. Yeah. She came to all my matches when I was at home, which was really nice, because their season is from August to December. Right. So now I'll be able to go and watch a few.
And where is she from?
She's from Texas.
Right, okay. So again, somebody who's new to the area, which is great. Yeah. It's going to be, I presume, it's hectic, up every morning probably, training, college, travelling for games. It's a very competitive, the whole NCAA circuit is very busy. Who's coaching you there then? Did you have a different coach, I presume, at Everett, and then you're a new college coach now?
Yeah, so I have a different coach now. My college coach is Jeff McDonald.
Right.
And then the assistant is Aliki Subanas.
Right.
Yeah, so...
And when you're home now playing in something like the Irish Open, who's coaching you there? Because your college coach isn't going to come all the way.
Yeah, so I actually didn't really have a coach for the summer, and then before the tournament I went with Owen Casey, who works in Donnybrook.
Former Irish International Davis Cup player.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, okay. So he helped me.
So he was the one who brought you through that tournament.
Yeah, it helped because I hadn't played on the surface on the Savannah surface in over 2 years. So yeah, so I was struggling a bit at the start to get with the timing because it's quite fast.
Yes.
So then I worked with him a few days, and it helped a lot. So
right.
It was good.
And I'm always really curious about people of your quality and world-class players and us duffers. Is your equipment completely different than ours? Do you have these multi-million-pound rackets that do fancy things?
No, just a regular. I have Babolat, the Pure Aero one. A lot of people have it.
Would they? And do you have? Because I know. Do you have rackets now that have equipment in them that measures stuff and does all of that kind of thing and downloads into a computer?
My rackets don't do that because I never kind of like bothered with it.
Yeah.
But I do know like a lot of players who do.
And would the
that.
Pros all have those, or would they be bothered with it?
I'm not.
Is that like a techie thing that you know?
Yeah. I'm not positive if they all do. I know a few who have.
Yeah, because I heard that recently. I heard that from somebody I know with strings rackets, and he said, "Oh, you can get them, and you can get the information out of them about your velocity and all that." And I thought, "Oh, that's interesting."
Yeah.
What's your service speed?
I'm not actually sure.
On a really strong one, you don't know.
I don't know.
What are the top women serving? They're serving up to 100, I think. I was looking at Wimbledon. I mean, I suppose it's different on different surfaces as well. But, like, that's what I was thinking. What do you need to work on, and what is the thing that you really need to work on for the next even 12 months?
Yeah, so I've been working a lot on my fitness of just kind of movement around the court because I'm quite tall. Like, sometimes it's quite hard. Just trying to stay low and always
hard. I mean, you have the reach, obviously.
Yeah,
but getting
which
down
helps.
is always the problem.
Yeah, no, just kind of. I'm just working a lot on my kind of speed and movement along the court, and then strength. Mostly, it's like kind of physical aspects. So I've been doing it all the summer at home. I may not have been playing as much, but I've been working a lot on my.
So you're lifting, you're doing weights, obviously as well.
Yeah.
And is that a big part of tennis now?
Yeah. No, the one thing that's hard about tennis is you have so many different aspects you need to work on as well. You don't know how long a match will last for, so you have to work on your cardio, your strength, your speed, your quickness and alertness to be able to kind of know where your opponent's kind of going based on your shot, so that you can kind of get a little quick head start to get to the ball.
Yeah, so you have to be a very rounded athlete to play tennis, apart from having the skills.
Yeah.
Because I mean, games can go on so long now. And the argument about, equal pay, women should play 5 sets, could you put this one to rest, please, and explain to the world that men don't always play 5 sets, am I right?
Yeah, they only play 5 sets during the Grand Slams.
So most tournaments that you go to, men are playing 3, women are playing 3. Yeah. This is such a, it's such a myth, this thing about the 5 sets. Would you like to play 5 sets?
I personally wouldn't think it would be too useful for my tennis, because I feel like 3 sets is enough.
Yeah.
But then, because you can just focus on, I think sometimes 5 sets can be just a bit too long, especially when you have like the 6-all and the tiebreaker. Yeah. It's just like, it does wear you down. Like, you can have a 3-setter match which is like 7-6, 6-7, 7-6.
Brilliant match.
And it's over like 3-4 hours. I don't think you need like
and the quality often goes in the really, really long games. That's the problem. The quality
you just get tired, and then like definitely the quality would go down.
Yeah. So 3 sets for everyone. Maybe that's the solution to all the people who give out about and argue about those things. You're going back to college next week. When will you start competing again then over there?
Yeah, so actually our first tournament is the week of September 10th.
Wow, so you've had hardly any break, really?
Yeah, so that's why right after Irish Open I had to take a week off and I hadn't played, so it was definitely...
You went off for a family holiday?
Yeah.
Where?
We went to Marbella in Spain.
Oh, nice, good. No tennis for the week?
No.
What a luxury.
Yeah.
So people go on holiday so they can play tennis. You go on holiday so you don't play any.
Yeah.
And was there tennis in the family?
Yeah, so I actually grew up with my whole family playing tennis. Like, we have different type of levels. Obviously, my dad was a lot better than my mum, and then my 2 sisters played. And they were top in Ireland. So
and what was the club?
We grew up in Donnybrook, Lawn Tennis Club.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we all kind of became members also of Fitzwilliam.
Right, so you always have access to somewhere to play when you're at home as well, and Fitzwilliam obviously is a great facility. World rankings, explain to me, because it's something that really confuses me. I don't understand the difference between WTA rankings and ITF rankings. So Women's Tennis Association is WTA and ITF is the International Tennis Federation. And you have rankings in both. So what's the difference?
So that just started this year, and it's actually... They've changed it now on August 5th, I think it was, that now you just have the one WTA ranking. You don't no longer will have an ITF ranking.
Right.
So they use that so that basically in 15Ks, which was the one in the Irish Open, is that...
Which is prize money 15K,
Yeah, overall. So then it basically was saying... There was quite like a few of people who would only play 15Ks, and then they would win a lot, and they would play in like Egypt and random places. So then they'd get quite a high ranking. So they'd be like top 300 then. And they felt like you shouldn't really be that high of a ranking for only playing the lowest tournaments, and a lot of them. So they then decided that this year that you could only, for 15Ks, you'd only get an ITF ranking. And so if you had a really high ITF ranking, it could get you into... like a special exempt into like a 25K, which is the next level up. But it just meant that you couldn't like be counted as a professional, because once you have a WTA, then you're kind of...
So you had an ITF ranking of 110?
I think so.
Yeah, which is really, really, really good. And 271 in the doubles. Have they got rid of that now completely, and you're on your world rankings now? And so your world rankings, what is...
I looked at it yesterday. It's 795.
Right, and you're basically only starting your career, because you've only played two tournaments on that tour, if you like. You've just gone from senior to junior. So that's the challenge now, is to move up that. And you will be able to have your college career and also play then on that tour as well. Will you be able to manage both?
Yeah, I'll be able to... So, in the summers, that's when I'm looking to play a lot of the women's events.
Right.
Yeah, I'm hoping maybe if I can, like one tournament between like August and December, if I can do it with my college. If it's in the States, maybe they'll allow me.
Right, exactly. It's tough. It's going to be tough, because NCAA, college is going to be your Division 1, it's going to be very high standard as well. It's interesting. I don't know, listeners might want to see it or try and find it. Sam Barry from Limerick made a brilliant documentary. Did you see it?
I didn't see it.
Oh, I mean, it's on Air Sport. You should look it up and find it, listeners. But like, it just really brings home the difficulty of trying to break into the top rankings in tennis, and what a tough life it is, because for most Irish players who go on the circuit, you don't have a full-time physio, full-time coach, full-time all these things. You're trying to you're all over the world on these satellite tours. And even, I looked up statistics, the International Tennis Federation did a study in 2013. 14,000 players played professional tennis in 2013. 14,000 players, right? Half of them made no money, and on the international circuit, the nearly 300 million, right, was the prize money. Only 336 men and 253 women broke even. Your mum's sitting outside in the control room, and she's looking very worried at this stage. But in other words, so few people make a living playing tennis. Only 336 men and 253 women, and that was before they paid their coaches. So that's how competitive it is. That's how tough it is. Why on earth would you want to be a professional tennis player?
I just love the game. Always enjoyed, especially doing well in tournaments. It just gets such a great feeling. And everyone I know is so supportive, family, friends, even people I don't know, they're always coming up to me and congratulating me. I just really enjoy it. And I don't mind, like, that's why I have education as a backup.
As your backup, yeah.
So if I don't make a living out of it, I mean, at least I've given it a try and I have my education as a backup.
And when you train as hard as you do and you're hitting for hours, do you still get the same pleasure that anybody does from hitting a ball absolutely perfectly? Does that still feel as joyous?
Yeah, especially when I play indoor hard when I'm at home. I love the sound of it.
Really?
'Cause it just echoes really nice.
That's lovely sound.
Yeah.
But it is an amazing feeling, isn't it? When you know that you've hit, whether it's a serve or you're a lovely two-handed backhander, when you hit a ball cleanly, it's a beautiful feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is.
And is that what keeps you going? I mean, that love of doing that?
Yeah, the love of that. And then I love being on the court, the excitement of it all and everything. It's definitely, it's a lot of fun.
And is it tough, though, not to have that, support system? Like, I suppose with college you'll have it, but like, do you go to tournaments and you're on your own and there are people there who have whole teams with them and backup teams with them?
Yeah, so actually one of the tournaments I went to, I actually went with one of my teammates, so it was just us. So it was definitely, I saw a lot of them, they all had coaches or a team, so it was kind of tough. And then the next one I did, I went by myself in Spain, so that was definitely quite hard.
Because Sam Barry was saying that's what tests your resilience.
Yeah.
It's not your physical skills, it's not your fitness, it's just the fact that sometimes you don't have that support system with you on the court when maybe you're struggling.
Yeah, no, that's why in juniors all my life I'd travel with one family member. My granddad, my dad, even my cousins, each one, we tried to get anyone, just because I wasn't able to have a coach always travelling with me.
Yeah.
So that was like the great thing. When I went to the States, I actually had a coach travelling with me to every tournament.
Yeah.
But no, once now I'm back in the summer playing the women's events, like, it is quite tough. You get quite lonely as well.
Yeah.
It was definitely, luckily my doubles partner was really nice. I got along with her really well.
Huge thing then,
I was then spending a lot of my time with her, but I was like, if I didn't have her, you wouldn't really be talking to anyone besides like on the phone.
Yeah,
so
tough. It's a tough career to pick. Yeah. It is a tough choice. But the college system now will give you a great support system for the next few years.
Yeah.
And I reckon you must be fairly resilient already, seeing as you went off to America on your own at 16.
Yeah.
And obviously thrived there.
Yeah, no, it was different, because usually, like, travelling for tournaments, you'd be coming home every 3 weeks or every few, and then just only coming home twice a year. It was definitely, I was scared at first, but then I kind of just got used to it, and then became a lot more independent because I had to, like, wash my own clothes, cook a bit. Luckily, a lot of the places, like, they'd have food for us.
Right.
But then, like, sometimes I just was, like, sick of eating all that food, so I just decided to cook for myself.
And what do you bring from home that, you really, really would miss? Like, for me, would be potatoes. I have to put potatoes everywhere with me.
No, I actually, my grandparents always send out bistro potatoes for me.
Do they?
Yeah. I
get the little packages from home.
Yeah.
Aww.
And then I miss the dairy milk chocolate, and then always have to have my Shreddies and Weetabix.
Really?
Yeah, they're my favourite cereal.
So you bring those from home?
Yeah.
See, there's always something for everybody. Well, look we can't wait to see what you do next. Number 35 in World Junior Rankings is just sensational for an Irish tennis player, and you've obviously got a great career ahead of you. So we look forward, Georgia, to seeing how well you do in the future.
Yeah, no, thank you so much.
Thank you, listeners, for listening. Just before we finish today, we don't get a chance to say this very often, but we had Michelle O'Neill in here recently, the referee, and she made history again last night. She was part of the all-women's crew that crewed the refereeing crew that crewed the UEFA Super Cup. Huge, again, a massive, groundbreaking thing for women in football. So congrats, Michelle. And if you want to find our interview with Michelle, you'll get it on our podcast, get it into our series link there. Also, Wexford Youths just back from Champions League. They won 2 of their games, lost the third and didn't go through, but great performance by them. And they're back in, and the Women's National League is continuing as it is. We're getting to the climax of the GA season for women. Camogie semi-finals are this weekend, August 17th in Limerick. Women's football semi-finals, 2 absolute crackers. The 2 semi-finals are on August the 25th in Croke Park for the first time ever. So it'll be brilliant if they got a great crowd there. Last athletics big meet of the season is the Morton Games, and that's August the 21st in Santry. And domestic rugby is back. Women's rugby is back. The Interpros start this weekend, and there's a new format, so everybody gets 5 games. So they've really expanded the tournament. 5 rounds in 6 weeks is going to be tough on them, but they're back. So again, we keep saying here all the time, if women's sport is to grow and get more sponsorship, it needs more people to get out there and support it and follow it. So if you can get to games, please get to games. And until we talk to you again, thanks again to Georgia Drummy. We'll be watching her progress with great interest in the future. Enjoy your sport.